The world has a way of testing you, and it doesn't care how you feel about it. Life doesn't stop when you're hurting. Time doesn't pause so you can catch your breath. The universe doesn't grant special privileges because you're struggling. And the hard truth is, most people don't care. They have their own battles, their own fears, their own quiet suffering that they carry behind closed doors. But that's not a reason to despair. That's not an excuse to fold under the weight of your problems. In fact, it's an opportunity. Because if no one is coming to save you, then that means you have the power to save yourself. And there is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to be defined by their pain. You see, when you spend your time talking about your problems, replaying them over and over again, what you're really doing is reinforcing them. You're etching them deeper into your identity. And when you make your struggles the centerpiece of every conversation, you're telling yourself and the world that your suffering is what defines you. But what if you flipped that script? What if, instead of focusing on what's wrong, you use that energy to build something stronger? What if you let your pain fuel your discipline, your resilience, your drive? Because here's the truth. Your pain isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of something greater, if you let it be. The most extraordinary people in history weren't the ones who spent their lives complaining about their hardships. They were the ones who took their suffering and forged something unbreakable. They were the ones who let their struggles mold them into something greater. Think about it. Who do you admire? Who inspires you? It's not the person who wallows in their misery. It's not the one who constantly seeks validation for their pain. It's the one who faced the storm and walked through it without asking for sympathy. The one who took their suffering and turned it into wisdom, into strength, into something unshakable. And that's the opportunity in front of you. You have a choice. You can let your problems define you, or you can let them refine you. You can talk about how hard things are, or you can use that pain as a weapon, sharpen it, wield it, let it carve you into something that can withstand anything. Because when you stop seeking pity, when you stop looking for someone to validate your suffering, you unlock a different kind of power. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. And the moment you do that, the world begins to take notice. Not because you ask for attention, not because you begged for understanding, but because your transformation speaks louder than words ever could. People respect strength. They respect resilience. They admire those who carry their burdens with quiet determination. When you become that person, the one who doesn't break, the one who doesn't fold under pressure, the one who stands tall no matter what, people notice. And more importantly, you notice. You start realizing that you don't need validation. You don't need permission to be strong. It was in you all along. So stop telling people your problems. Stop giving them power over your mind, over your emotions. Start working, start building, start becoming the person who rises despite the weight of the world, because one day you'll look back and realize that your greatest challenges weren't there to break you. They were there to build you into something unstoppable. There's something you need to understand about the world, something most people either learn too late or refuse to accept. Not everyone wants what's best for you. Not everyone is rooting for you to succeed. In fact, there are people, more than you might think, who will take your struggles, your fears, your weaknesses, and use them against you the moment it benefits them. It's an uncomfortable truth, but an important one. Because the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you can protect yourself from it. When you open up about your problems to just anyone, when you lay your burdens at the feet of people who haven't earned your trust, you make yourself vulnerable. And vulnerability in the wrong hands is a weapon. Maybe they'll smile, nod, pretend to care, but deep down, they're filing that information away. Maybe they're waiting for the right moment to use it. Maybe they'll twist your words. Maybe they'll spread your struggles like gossip. Maybe they'll take your pain and turn it into entertainment. And when that happens, when you realize someone you trusted has betrayed you, you'll feel foolish for ever letting them in. You might think, well, I just need to surround myself with good people. And that's true, but here's the problem. People don't always reveal their true nature right away. They don't walk into your life with a warning label. Some of the most deceitful people wear the mask of a friend. They listen, they sympathize, they offer advice, but beneath it all, there's something insidious. Maybe they resent your ambition, your discipline, your potential. Maybe your struggles make them feel superior. And if that's the case, they keep you exactly where you are, doubting yourself, second-guessing, dependent on their approval. That's why you need to be careful. You need to recognize that your struggles aren't for public display. Your problems, your insecurities, your fears, those are yours to overcome, not someone else's to analyze, judge, or manipulate. You don't owe the world your pain. You don't need to hand over your weaknesses like a gift, hoping for understanding in return, because understanding is rare. True empathy is rare. And those who genuinely care, those who truly want to see you rise, they're not the ones who need to hear every detail of your suffering. They're the ones who will stand by you whether you speak or stay silent. You might be tempted to vent, to unload your burdens onto others. It's natural. When life gets overwhelming, you want someone to tell you it's going to be okay. But be mindful of who you choose. Not everyone listening wants to help. Some are just waiting for their moment to strike. And when they do, it won't be obvious at first. It might be subtle, a dismissive comment, a joke at your expense, a moment of doubt planted in your mind. But over time, you'll see it. You'll realize that some people were never there to support you. They were there to collect information, to feed their own ego, to remind themselves that at least they're not the only ones struggling. So what do? You become selective. You guard your mind the way you would guard something precious, because that's exactly what it is. You don't let just anyone in. You don't share your battles with people who haven't earned the right to hear them. Instead, you take that energy, that frustration, that pain, and you use it to build yourself into someone who doesn't need external validation. Someone who doesn't need to be understood by everyone. Someone who can stand strong, not because the world reassured them, but because they chose to be strong despite the silence. There is power in restraint. There is power in knowing when to speak and when to hold your tongue. Not every battle needs an audience. Not every struggle needs to be shared. Some of the greatest transformations happen in solitude, in silence, away from the noise of opinions and judgments. And when you emerge, when you rise above what tried to break you, it won't be because you sought sympathy. It will be because you refuse to be anyone's victim. Where you place your focus determines the direction of your life. It's as simple as that. The mind is a powerful thing, capable of creating extraordinary success or relentless suffering. And the difference lies in what you choose to concentrate on. People underestimate just how much control they have over their reality. They think their circumstances define them, that their past dictates their future, that their emotions are uncontrollable forces washing over them. But none of that is true. Your life is shaped by where you direct your attention, by what you decide is important, by what you give your energy to, whether that be your problems, your fears, your weaknesses, or your goals, your discipline, your potential. The mistake most people make is that they obsess over what's wrong. They dwell on every setback, every failure, every inconvenience, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. It's not a mystery. The more you focus on your problems, the more power you give them. The more you talk about what's holding you back, the more rooted you become in the belief that you're trapped. It becomes a cycle. You complain, you reinforce your limitations, you feel worse, and then you repeat the process. But what if, instead of feeding that negativity, you starved it? What if you redirected that energy into something productive? Because make no mistake, energy isn't infinite. Every thought, every emotion, every action takes something from you. And if you spend it all dwelling on obstacles, you won't have anything left for solutions. If you pour all your energy into justifying why you're struggling, you'll have nothing left to actually overcome it. That's why focus is everything. Where your mind goes, your actions follow. You think like a victim, you'll act like one. You think like someone who's capable of change, and suddenly your behavior starts aligning with that belief. People waste so much time waiting for the perfect moment to take control of their lives. They think they need motivation. They think they need external validation. They think they need permission. They don't. What they need is to stop feeding their problems and start feeding their potential. And that starts with one simple choice: to shift focus, to stop repeating the same tired narrative about why things are hard, and start asking, what can be done about it? To stop looking for sympathy and start looking for progress. Now, that doesn't mean ignoring your problems. That doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it isn't. But there's a difference between acknowledging an issue and obsessing over it. There's a difference between recognizing a challenge and making it the centerpiece of your identity. You are not your failures. You are not your setbacks. You are whatever you decide to become. And that decision is made every single day by what you choose to focus on. So start asking yourself better questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why is everything so difficult? Ask, how can I get stronger? That small shift in perspective changes everything. It puts you back in control. It takes you out of the passenger seat and puts you behind the wheel of your own life. And when you do that, when you stop wasting energy on things that drain you and start investing it in things that empower you, everything begins to change. Because here's the truth. You're always moving towards something. The question is, are you moving toward your problems, or are you moving toward the person you're capable of becoming? The choice is yours. But know this, whatever you focus on, you'll get more of. So choose wisely. Life is unfair. That's a brutal truth, but it's one you need to accept if you ever hope to take control of your future. Some people are born into wealth, others into poverty. Some are given opportunities, others have to fight for every inch of progress. Some people seem to have an easier path, while others carry burdens they never asked for. But here's the thing, none of that changes the fact that your struggles are your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you a way out. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start building the life you want instead of resenting the one you have. It's easy to look around and blame your circumstances. It's easy to point at your past, at the people who hurt you, at the obstacles in your way, and say, this is why I'm struggling. And maybe you're right. Maybe you didn't deserve what happened to you. Maybe life has been unfair, cruel even. But what now? What do you do with that? Because the reality is, sitting in that resentment won't change a thing. Wishing the past were different won't make it so. The only thing that changes your future is taking ownership. Owning your actions, your mindset, your response to adversity. That's what separates the people who rise from the people who stay stuck. Because no matter how unfair things have been, you still have choices. You can choose to keep repeating the same cycles, telling yourself the same story about why you're trapped, or you can take responsibility for what happens next. And responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong. It's about recognizing that, fair or not, your life is in your hands, no one else's. You can wait around hoping that someone will fix it for you, but that's a dangerous game to play, because even if someone wanted to, even if someone cared enough to try, they can't. No one can do the work for you. No one can change your habits, your discipline, your mindset. No one can force you to grow. That's something you have to decide for yourself. And it's not easy. In fact, it's brutally difficult. But so is staying exactly where you are. So is waking up every day feeling powerless. So is watching your potential waste away because you refuse to take control. You think responsibility is heavy. Try carrying the weight of regret. Try living with the knowledge that you could have changed things, but you didn't. That's real suffering. And if you don't take ownership now, that's where People avoid responsibility because it's uncomfortable, because it means admitting that a lot of the pain in their life won't just disappear on its own. It means acknowledging that their excuses aren't serving them. And that's hard. It's painful. But what's the alternative? You keep blaming the world. Keep telling yourself you're stuck. Keep waiting for the perfect moment to turn things around. That moment isn't coming. No one's going to hand it to you. You either take responsibility now, or you live with the consequences of avoiding it. But here's the good news. Once you decide to own your struggles, you also gain the power to overcome them. You stop waiting for permission. Stop relying on external circumstances to improve. Stop looking for someone to carry you. And in that moment, you realize something incredible. You are capable. You are stronger than you thought. You do have the ability to change things, no matter how impossible it seems right now. It won't be easy. You'll fail. You'll struggle. You'll doubt yourself. But every step forward, every decision to take control rather than give up, builds something unshakable inside you. And one day, when you look back, you won't resent the struggles you faced. You'll be grateful for them, because they forged you into someone who doesn't just survive, someone who conquers. There's something fundamental about human nature that people don't like to admit. Strength commands respect, and weakness, especially when paraded around as a constant complaint, pushes people away. It's not that others don't care. It's not that they're incapable of empathy. It's that at some point they stop listening to words and start paying attention to actions. And if all they ever see from you is complaining about your circumstances, your hardships, your misfortunes, what they learn is that you are not someone to admire. You are not someone to follow. You are not someone they need to take seriously. Because the truth is, we respect people who endure. We respect those who stand up despite their struggles, who keep moving forward despite their pain. We are drawn to those who bear their burdens with quiet resilience, who take responsibility instead of seeking pity, who rise above their suffering rather than using it as an excuse to remain stagnant. And we instinctively pull away from those who do the opposite. Why? Because no one wants to be around someone who constantly reinforces their own helplessness. No one is inspired by a person who has surrendered to their circumstances. And no one respects a person who refuses to take control of their own life. People don't respect complaints. They respect solutions. They respect effort. They respect perseverance. They respect the individual who, despite everything, refuses to break. And when you show up in the world as someone who takes responsibility for their struggles, who carries their burdens with dignity instead of seeking attention for them, something shifts. You start to earn the kind of respect that lasts, the kind that isn't dependent on people feeling sorry for you, but on them recognizing your strength. And that kind of respect matters. Because whether we admit it or not, the way people perceive us shapes the opportunities we receive, the relationships we build, and the influence we have. If you are constantly complaining, people will avoid you. They may tolerate you, they may even pretend to sympathize, but deep down, they'll see you as someone who drains energy rather than contributes to it. They'll keep their distance. But if you carry yourself with strength, if you work through your struggles instead of broadcasting them, people will take notice. They'll see someone worth listening to, someone worth following, someone worth respecting. And before you argue that it's unfair, that people should listen to your pain, that they should be more understanding, think about the people you admire. Think about the individuals you look up to. Are they the ones who complain? Are they the ones who broadcast every difficulty, seeking validation at every turn? Or are they the ones who push through, who keep going, who rise without demanding recognition for their suffering? You already know the answer. So be that person. Be the one who earns respect, not the one who begs for sympathy. Be the one who takes control, not the one who waits for rescue. Be the one whose actions speak so loudly that words are no longer necessary. Because in the end, people may forget what you say, but they will never forget what you prove. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is part of life. But what you do with it, that's what defines you. You can let it break you, let it make you bitter, let it turn you into someone who resents the world, or you can take that pain and forge something powerful out of it. You can turn it into fuel, use it to sharpen your mind, to strengthen your resolve, to build yourself into someone who doesn't just survive hardship, but thrives because of it. The choice is yours. Remain a victim of your suffering or rise above it and become unstoppable. Life is hard. It always has been and it always will be. But the way you face that reality determines everything. You can waste your energy seeking sympathy, complaining about your struggles and hoping that someone else will fix them, or you can accept the truth that no one is coming to save you, that most people don't care, and that some will even use your pain against you. And once you accept that, you become dangerous. Because when you stop expecting the world to change for you and start taking full responsibility for your life, something incredible happens. You grow stronger, you become resilient, you stop looking for an escape and start building the kind of person who can handle anything. The world respects strength, not complaints. It rewards those who refuse to be broken. So take your pain, take your struggles, and turn them into the fire that drives you forward. Rise. Not because it's easy, not because it's fair, but because you can.